Hey, this is Willie Diefenbach-Jones, and I'm delighted today to have my special guest, Angelica Vasquez. She is just an amazing friend. I went back and looked at our records, and we've been friends about 5+ years. So a long time, Angelica. I mean, I can't even believe that. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Time flies. I can't believe it's been 5 years.
I know it does fly. We've had so many experiences and fun. But let me just give a little background about you, Angelica. You're just an amazing person. First of all, she is a State Farm business owner. But not only is she a business owner, she is in the top 3% of 19,000 people. Now, that's amazing. What an accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All hard work, right? All hard work.
It is. It's hard work, but it's consistency. And I love talking to entrepreneurs like you because I love to hear your story and share it with other people. Now, you're a graduate of St. Louis University with an international business, and I love your master's degree from University of Barcelona. And I have to look at it. It's corporate social responsibility. I just love what that is and what that implies. How did you decide to do corporate social responsibility?
That's a great question. I have such a strong business acumen mind, but I really didn't have that just want to make tons of money. I wanted to do something in the corporate world and business that really had a huge impact on society, economically, socially, and environmentally. And so corporate social responsibility is just that, right? How do big corporations have a positive impact economically, socially, environmentally? And it was a perfect fit. So I really enjoy it. I feel like I use my degree every day because it's all about what big corporations do for the community, right? And what they give back and different ways. Everyone does it a little differently. Every corporation does it differently, right? But I'm honored to incorporate that every day.
I think that's great, and I wish that more corporations and organizations did incorporate that and understood corporate social responsibility because it's not just about making money; it's about giving back to the community. And I know later on we're going to talk about all the things you get involved in because you're a big giver to the community. Now, you got your master's degree and you
Mm-hmm.
became an entrepreneur in college because you wanted to make money. Now, just tell me about that. I
Yes, I have a really strong business acumen mind. And so growing up, my family always told me, if you want something, you're gonna have to go and get it. And they taught me from a really young age that it's okay to fail. So I failed a lot when I was really young. And so I got my jitters out, right? When I was younger, and my dad would ask me, like, what did you fail at this week, honey? And so I'd be like, well, I tried this and that didn't work, right? So when I was in college, I paid my way through college, and I was trying to make some extra money paying my way. And I started teaching business English. And so I was looking at it, and I was looking at the market, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is really a niche market. Like, I could do this. I could hire people. I could put my name on it. I'm doing such a good job right now, and I had such a strong referral base. This is the key. When you take care of people, good people will take care of you, right? So it doesn't matter if you don't want to do something to get something out of someone. You do it knowing that it's always going to come back tenfold, right? Because karma will come back around. So putting yourself out there with that business is really important, and just taking care of people at the end of the day.
you've been a person that takes care of people from the beginning of time and that you love to give because karma is a big thing. What you give out comes back tenfold and maybe more. So
Mm-hmm.
when you started that business,
Mm-hmm.
how did you attract your first clients?
Right. So what I did first is I actually worked for a company, and I would train directors, VPs, and we developed such a great relationship that they would ask me to do other courses for their corporations, right? And when they were asking me to do that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to branch off. When you take good care of people and you put your heart in it, and what I loved about teaching, right? And I think that's just is innate in me is I love when you see someone and they're here, and then after they leave you, they're here,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Yeah, and I love creating that value for people. So when you are talking with someone, even if it's a friend, a family member, in work, when they leave you, did they feel better? right? And that's always been one of my mottos within business. When they leave you, do they value your time? Are they better off from when you left them? You know, how did you make them feel? Right. And so that's really how I developed my client base, is through referrals. So if you think about that every time you speak to someone, or sometimes when I'm on my way to a meeting, even today, I'm like, okay, what is my value added to this meeting? You know, what am I going to give, or what do I want to receive in terms of knowledge, right? So I always think about that in the back end, because you're always going to get really strong referrals and develop strong relationships. Once you develop strong relationships with people, you know, it's all about who you know and referring, and the best business out there is referral business, right? So I started that from a very young age, in that business. And that's how I got my clients.
Wow, that is incredible. And it is all about how you make people feel. And it may be that you never do business with me, or I never do business with you, but it's who do you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people miss that. You know, it's sometimes back in the old days when we had meetings and things where you met face to face, I felt like so many people were sell, sell, sell. But I've never felt that from you.
Mm-mm.
Never, ever have I felt like it's all about the sale.
Mm-mm. Because it's all about doing life with people, right? Who do you want to do life with, right? And because think about it, when even if you're working from home right now with COVID, how many hours are you on a Zoom call with a certain team member, right? You're doing life. And even my office stayed open during COVID, but I'm seeing these people for 8 hours a day, right? You want to do life with good people. Right. And that the most important thing too to that as an entrepreneur is whoever you surround yourself with is who you're going to become. Right. Some of the three questions that I ask employees, right, when I'm interviewing is, from a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the most, how positive are you? Because do you want to be around someone that's like a 5?
Mm-mm.
No, you want to be with someone that's like a 10 or a 9, right?
I
And
know.
you want to live at a 10 or a 9, right? So
Yes.
I ask positivity. I love working hard. It's just innate in me. And so I ask them from scales of 1 to 10, how
Yeah.
much you like to work. Because let's be honest, some people don't like to work, right?
Yeah.
So, and if they say 10, I know that's a good candidate, right? And the last question that I ask is, from a scale from 0 to 10, right? how how do you see yourself, like, do you see yourself working for someone in my establishment, in my business structure, long term, right? Because if they don't envision you, this type of work environment, this type of not only the work environment but the structure, why would you even have them in your circle, right? If they don't envision you already there. So
And I think those are great points. I remember one day I ran into several people from your team, and you were not with them. And they were just so bubbly and so excited. And they were at lunch and they wanted to hurry up and get back to work. And, you know, it was such, I was watching them as they ate lunch. And now I'm not being weird, just
yeah,
sat there and stared at them. But, you know, they just had delight in each other. And you could tell they were really, really happy. And so I think that's a really important thing. Now let's talk
yeah,
a little bit about your transition from when you came back to the United States. You went to
mm-hmm.
work in corporate America. So
Yes,
a little
I
bit.
went yeah, I went directly into corporate America, and it was in 2008, you know, when we had that recession. I worked for SCI International, which is the largest cemetery, crematory, and funeral home industry, right? And
Yes.
so their headquarters is here. And, you know, I enjoyed what I did because I felt like it was a calling. I started out actually working in the trenches at a funeral home, and then went to be the corporate social responsibility liaison for Houston and the surrounding area in the corporate office.
Mhm.
But I just felt like when I was helping people and on that corporate level as well, I felt like due to the industry, I was only helping them at the end of their life, right? And I felt like my gifts and talents, I wanted to help a family from their whole entire life, right? And so I still own the business in Spain as well at that time. I kind of operated it from here and over there. And so after a year in that industry, I said, you know what? I want to own a business again. I just had that itch, right? I
Yeah.
wanted to. So I decided to leave after a year, and I went into to work for a State Farm corporate. And I honestly took a huge pay cut so I could train under State Farm corporate for about 18 months to learn how to be a State Farm agent. So I put in the time, the effort, and the work to do that, and kind of, took some time to really kind of do some market analysis and career analysis and to get to that point. And I'm honored now in March to celebrate 9 years as a State Farm agent. And
That's great. Yay.
yeah.
That is awesome. Now, congratulations. I
Yeah.
am sure that a lot of people that go into not just State Farm, but into insurance and opening their own practice, they probably don't stay open very long. Do you think, is that true or not?
Yeah, I'm really honored. Before even interviewing with State Farm, I looked at all of the companies,
Mhm.
right? There's a lot of opportunity in the insurance industry.
Yes.
However, as they were interviewing me, I was interviewing them, right? And the best opportunity I felt in terms of training, investment, time, um, also money,
Uh-huh.
right? To get you started was with State Farm. State Farm invests probably about $250,000 into their new agents, getting
Wow.
trained, money. Just to get up and right, our success ratio as State Farm agents is about 72%. So if
That's
you
great.
go and yeah, and it's very, they have a really strenuous process, candidate approval process.
Mhm.
There's some companies out there like, oh yeah, just get your license and we'll bring you on board. No, they look at financials, they look at business acumen. You go through, you take an actual business owner test,
Mhm.
and 1 out of 5 people only pass. So that's like the preliminary. So they do look for the right candidates and to make sure that they're going to be successful. So
That's great. It's very important to have that kind of a training program because when you look at businesses and startups, a lot of them fail
do.
before they even get out the door. And so I
Mhm.
think that having investing like that into their people is a very good thing. Of course, I'm all about continuing education too. Can you share? I know that entrepreneurs are constant learners, and I know you love to learn and attend things. Tell us a little bit about that. And if you were going to give some advice to a startup entrepreneur, what would you suggest as far as continuing education and learning? And I don't just mean going to college, I mean other things.
Right. A couple of things for a startup entrepreneur. Okay. Um, Number one, most startup entrepreneurs are really good at a trade, right? They're really good at a specific trade, but they may not be a very good business owner. Okay.
Yes,
Those are two completely different things.
they really are.
Like let's take a hairdresser. That's their trade as a hairdresser. But do they know how to manage a salon?
Mhm.
Right? And so for startup entrepreneurs, you're always concentrated on your trade, but I would invest time in understanding, how are you going to set up your books? Do you have an accountant? Do you have the right insurance, right? Do you have a contingency plan or a budget? What does your first year budget look like? Okay. A lot of people think they can just start a business, but then they run out of money. That's what happens to them. So for startup entrepreneurs, really looking at what's my budget, what insurance do I need, looking into how am I going to structure my books. Those are really important in the beginning. Okay. In terms of continuing education as well, I would get in groups or get in like a Facebook group that's for your industry, right? So you can have local support when they have questions within your industry, but also get a mentor. Get someone who's been in the industry for over 10 years. I had 2 or 3 mentors that had 10 plus years of being a State Farm agent, just help me, right? And mentor me. But also moving forward, apart from a startup entrepreneur, you know, the industry, no matter what industry you're in, is cyclical, right? It's going to go up, it's going to go down. Okay. And so every year your budget will change. Okay. And the business will change in terms of your growth and development. So when you're at year 1, you're barely making money, you're trying to do it right, it will be different from year 5,
Yes.
right? And so what does that look like for you moving forward? One thing I learned now that I wish I knew as a starter entrepreneur is, and this is a practice that I do every Sunday now, which I wish I did it in the beginning. Every Sunday, I sit down and I manifest what I want the week to look like, right? I sit down and I say, okay, I want this to happen for my employees. I want this to happen for my customers. This is what I want to do personally for health, right? So I do professional, health, right? And then I also do something personal, right? And I look every week to what that looks like. Because if you don't do that, you're just running around with your head chopped off, right? You get stuck in the whirlwind. And so if you don't have any focus in the beginning of the week or the week to come, you have no direction. And if you don't have a direction as a leader, your team, your employees, people around you will be so lost, right? So that's one practice that I highly recommend to do. Even if it's daily, I do it weekly because there's a lot that happens in a week for me, right? And so then I have it in a specific book. So then what I do is I look back to the week prior. I'm like, oh man, that happened. Put a little smiley face, right? I'm like, oh gosh, that didn't happen. Let me move, let me get that for the coming week. But it's very intentional, right? It's very intentional, and you're putting it out there as well.
Can you give us an example of what a professional, very specifically, what a professional intention might be for the week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for example, I need to hire 2 employees.
Okay.
Right? So that could be professional. And I'm saying every day, what am I doing to accomplish that goal? So I'm going to say on Monday, I'm going to go through, I use Indeed. So on Monday, I'm going to go through all of my Indeed account, sending all my emails, calls to schedule interviews for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And my goal would be able to hire someone by Friday. That would be a professional. But if you're like, oh gosh, I got to hire someone. On Monday comes around, you're like, oh, what do I do? Or what do I need? Right? So in my mind already, I knew, okay, Monday I'm going to do this so I can schedule interviews Tuesday, Wednesday, so I can have a final decision Thursday, or you know what I mean? And then so I can be ready on Friday to hire, and then they can start on Monday. It's very intentional.
I
right?
love that. Now, that's just so purposeful, and then your task aligned to what your goals are, and you get things done. So I absolutely love that. How about health? Can you share? I know that balance is a challenge for all of us as entrepreneurs, and health is a perfect one too. And I think many entrepreneurs neglect that. Can you tell us a little bit about what your intention is, or what an intention might look like?
Right. A big thing I think is important for entrepreneurs or starting entrepreneurs is having a morning practice. Okay. And so when I say a morning practice is every morning, what do I do for me health wise? Okay. Because if I am not healthy, no one around me can function because I'm not my best.
Yes.
Right. So health wise, I create a morning practice, right, where I'm either working out for 20, 30 minutes of the day. Okay. And while I'm working out, and that could be yoga, it could be walking my dog for 20 minutes outside, it could be on the elliptical, it could be a home yoga, like I said, a quick Zumba class. But while I'm doing one of those, I'm listening to something either spiritual or something uplifting. So not only is it health for your body, but it's also mental health. Okay, that's very important to start the day like that. So every morning for 20 minutes, I'll do something physical. And while I'm doing it physical, I'm listening to either a spiritual devotion, I'm listening to something inspirational, I'm listening to a book, right, on audio, because I want to do both. And if you don't have 20 minutes for yourself in a day, what do you have?
Mm-hmm.
You don't give yourself 20 minutes? You can't wake up 20 minutes earlier just to be at peace for health-wise and mentally? What are you doing with your life? Right? So
I think that's a good question. Yes. What are you doing with your life?
all right. And so health-wise, physically I do that. And then I actually, every week, I look at my calendar and I say, I work really hard. I know what my health work looks like for the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I work really hard, right? Like either 9 to 9 or 7 to 7. And I try to eat healthy those 3 days. Okay. Then I give myself a break on Thursday because I know I want to enjoy, like one thing that makes me so happy and brings me joy is spending time with good people. So on, Friday and Saturday, I know I'm going to do that, and that's probably being something social, right? So I'm gonna stay true to my health, eating habits, routines, Monday through Wednesday. Thursday, I may take a break, and then I always do something active on Saturday and Sunday, right? So maybe Thursday, Friday is a little days off, right? But I will do something active those days.
Love that. I think that's great. And I know you're that fits right in with who you are and the balance. And one of the things I know about you is you're a person that gives back a lot to the community. And you've been very involved with the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo and
Yeah.
working with education and the art. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that. How does that go?
Yes, I was looking at it actually this week because we had a meeting, our first kickoff meeting, right? And especially with the rodeo being pushed out to May now. I've been with them for 8 years. This is going to be my
Wow.
8th year. And I love giving back because, if you're not contributing to someone or if you're not growing personally, you don't have a lot of fulfillment. Think
Yes.
about that. So one way that I like to contribute is through the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. One, it's just fun personally. Like going to the rodeo and experience, it's fun. But more importantly, the committee that I'm on is what we call a school art auction. And what it does is all the kids in the Houston surrounding area that are of the arts, they submit art pieces. There's actually over 3,000 students that submit art. And what our committee does, it doesn't judge it. We take the top 75 and we create an auction. So some of these kids come from privilege, but I want to say about 80 to 85% do not come from privilege. And it's not, sometimes having a career in the arts is kind of frowned upon sometimes, right? And so just giving them the opportunity to express painting, sculpture, art, and getting a scholarship for it, right? That's what the auction does. So all the money that we generate from the auction gives them scholarship money. And so it's just a beautiful program to give back. And I really love dedicating my time to giving back to the kids, especially with education. Education is so important, especially to our young people and moving forward in generations to come.
It is so important. And you invited me to the art auction one year. I couldn't believe how good it was. First of all, the talent in these kids, it was over the top amazing. But,
Mm-hmm.
and also the variety of art. I mean, I didn't know I knew what I was going to, but I didn't know what you were going to see. And it was just amazing. And to see
Yeah.
the money that you raised. I mean, I sat there and I'm going, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Right. And it's so incredible. People have giving hearts, right? And it's really unique to see all these kids and how talented they are.
Yeah.
We had two people from middle school that got scholarships, like $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're in middle school, they haven't gotten to high school yet. And so once you have a passion, really pursuing it, and it's okay to pursue your passions.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what society says. Pursue them, and there's always going to be people out there that will want to support you. And if you're not living in a family environment that supports you, stay true to your passion, right? And find other avenues within the city or local schools, governments, programs to help them out, and it will all come to pass.
I think that's amazing, and that's great advice to follow your passion. And I know sometimes that art and music are pushed aside, and people are told to do something different. So I think that's really, really important. Hey, we're coming close to the end of our 30 minutes. So I was curious, in closing thoughts, what advice would you have for somebody that wants to become an entrepreneur or is thinking about it, or maybe that is an entrepreneur but is struggling?
That's a great question. One thing I learned probably like year 6 and 7 of being an entrepreneur is that we all have things that are running through our head, okay? And we tell ourselves stories every single day in our head, right? And one thing that I've personally learned is mindfulness and what thoughts are running through your head. And okay, here it goes. Your thoughts equal your feelings,
Uh-huh.
right? Which equals your actions and then becomes your results. Okay. And I would like to challenge everyone out there, like, what story are you telling yourself? Is it a story of something that's limiting, that you're limiting yourself on? Is it a story of something that's empowering, right? Even now as an entrepreneur, I've noticed, I'm very grateful and very humbled to have as much success as I've had in my career. But there's still moments where I limit myself. And I'm like, where did that story come from? Right. So I'll be honest with you, like every quarter I think about, okay, is there something that's limiting me? Is there a thought process that's limiting me? What current story do I have? And then I sit down and I take some personal time and rewrite my story. What do I want my story to look like? I do it every week in terms of execution in a do manner, right? But what do I really see my vision to be for each quarter? What do I want my story to look like? What do I want to do? What do I want to feel? And what do I want to think? Right? That has been so huge for me. And I wish in the beginning I would have known that. Right. In the beginning, when you start an entrepreneur, you're just like, oh my gosh, just do it. Just get sales. Am I going to stay afloat? Am I going to do this? Right. And you don't take that time personally to do that. Right. And so one thing I'd like to leave in closing and to challenge new entrepreneurs or even current entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs is, what story do you want to write? What story are you currently living in? Is there anything there in your current story that's limiting you? Is there a thought that's limiting you? Is there a person who's limiting you? Right? Is there a situation? Right? And you know what? All of that is all here. And your thought power, your brain power, your mindfulness is so strong. If you change it mentally and rewrite your story, anything that you can have is unlimited and you can have it all. Sometimes in our society, they say you can have this or that. I believe that you can have it all. You literally can have it all. And just by thinking it and rewriting your story for that. So I hope that resonates, right? I hope that resonates for new entrepreneurs and just having a check-in, and for current, and even now, like I do that with my team. Even this morning, we were talking about it in our team meeting, right? What story? We do visions every month. What is your vision for January? Right? What is your vision for February? What does your story look like? Do we need to rewrite it? What are you even telling yourself that's just not good? Right? Has someone been telling you something that's not good? And just looking to see what that is, because you are a creator of your destiny, right? Things are not happening to you, they're happening for you in life. And we just live a beautiful world and everything that we can. So I hope that resonates. And as we conclude that you can have whatever you want. It's all about manifesting and rewriting your story.
I love that. I like to say the story in your mind is the story of your life. And so when you talk about that, it's just like, oh my gosh, I get so excited. And I'm going to start implementing some of the tips you talked about, to look at your vision and what are you saying to yourself quarterly? That's a brilliant thing because it keeps it in front of you. And we all get some negative stories coming in. Unfortunately, something happens. Well, then you hear somebody say, every time I try, blah, blah, blah. And so you might not even know you're saying that. So I just think that is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant advice. You are just an amazing person. I feel so blessed not only to have you as a friend, but as see you in your business. You are just an awesome, awesome business person. And the way you take care of your clients, I love your clients. What an amazing person. State Farm's lucky to have you. I hope they know that. But Angelica, I want to say thank you to you. I really enjoyed interviewing you and learning more about the life of an entrepreneur. You're an amazing person, and I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you so much, Billy. It's an honor to know you. You're a very dear friend, and I appreciate you. And I'm so grateful that you're doing this, right? What a wealth of knowledge for people too. And thank you so much for sharing your heart and for a beautiful, candid conversation to help people to come.
Thank you. Hey, have a great day. And thanks to those of you that have joined us. Bye for now.
Bye.